What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and as you guys know, today is the launch date of the Blackout Beta for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys my first opinions. The video is actually going to be of my first victory. It's a solo victory. I don't get an overwhelming amount of kills, but I get enough, and we'll kind of talk about the amount of kills I get kind of later in this video. Now, as far as the initial response to the Blackout Beta in the community, there's a ton of people playing it, a ton of people talking about it, and even more people that don't quite have their hands on it yet. So, first things first, I am going to be giving a few different beta codes out on this video, over on my Twitter, and then even more on my Twitch. So my Twitch link is down in the description, and if I am streaming Blackout every 2 to 3 hours of me streaming, I give out another beta code. This is going to be going on throughout the entire week, so if you don't have a beta code and want to get your hands on it, the best way to do so is when I am streaming on my Twitch, which the link is down in the description. But also, as I mentioned, I am going to be giving a couple beta codes away on this video. All you have to do to win the beta code is hit that like button, leave a comment down in the comment section below simply saying that you want the beta code, and then finally make sure you are subscribed to the channel. But without further ado, let's start talking about my opinions about the Blackout game mode. Now, first, let's start by addressing the elephant in the room. Is Blackout better than Fortnite? That's the question that's everyone asking. Is Blackout going to kill Fortnite? And the interesting thing is, if we looked at the Twitch numbers today, Blackout absolutely destroyed Fortnite. For most of the day, 300,000 people were watching Blackout, about 60,000 people were watching Fortnite. So, did it affect the audience? Yes, absolutely, but you gotta remember, this is the first day that the Blackout is even available for anyone. So, of course, that's gonna happen. But the real answer to that question, is Blackout gonna kill Fortnite? I don't think so. And the real reason for that isn't that Blackout isn't good, because it's fantastic. It's that Blackout is very different than Fortnite. The main difference between the two is obviously the building. Building in Fortnite is pretty much the keystone to the game, whereas in Blackout, it's much more like PUBG. And the answer to the question, will Blackout kill Fortnite? It may not kill Fortnite, but in my opinion, it is going to destroy PUBG. Honestly, after playing this game is basically a polished up, better version of PUBG. And if you liked PUBG, you're going to love Blackout. So clearly you can tell I like the game mode, but by no means is it perfect. There's definitely some problems I have with it, but let's just start from the beginning. When you spawn into a game, what is it like? So basically there's a strafing run of helicopters that go across the map in a straight line. You then jump out of the helicopters, wingsuit down, and eventually parachute to your landing. Now, as far as this goes, it is very different than Fortnite. In Fortnite, if you pull your parachute, you are able to glide quite some distance. However, in Blackout, when you pull your parachute, there is not much wiggle room for where you are actually going to be landing. You have to indicate where you are landing by how you wingsuit. So if you wingsuit to one location, you're not going to be able to just parachute to another. That is where you are landing. So there's a distinct learning curve to how you're actually going to wingsuit, where you're going to land, and to get used to that, it's a little bit odd. At first it feels clunky, but when you get used to it, it really does work well. And I think Vondahar did a pretty good job explaining it in the live stream the other day. You have to basically use momentum to indicate where you are going to land based off of your wingsuit experience. It's kind of hard to explain. You just kind of have to get your hands on it and try it. And it took me probably about 5 or 6 games to actually get used to and get good at. Now, once you actually land, you begin looting. You look for weapons, you look for gear, you look for various different things. And at this point, I don't think all of the gear that's going to be in the final game is in the beta. For the most part, I find pretty much the same guns every single game. But for the most part, looting works okay. And why do I say okay? Well, the mechanic that you use is you run around and find things laying on the ground. Of course, there is some chests, supply drops, and even mystery boxes if you go to the zombies locations. But for the most part, the things you are going to find are just scattered across the ground. Now, to pick them up, you have to hold square. And it does take a little bit of a second to actually hold square and pick them up. And a lot of people are kind of frustrated with that. Now, the reason that Treyarch gave for actually making it and designing it that way is that if you didn't do that, what would happen is you'd go to reload your weapon, press square, and you may be standing on something and then immediately pick it up, which would be relatively annoying. But if you ask me, they should shorten that as much as possible so you have to hold square for the shortest time possible to actually pick things up. But for the most part, the only reason why I think people are complaining about it a slight bit is because it's simply a little bit slower than Fortnite's looting system. Now, I think once Treyarch actually really refines it in and makes it work well, I think it'll be a very similar time and people won't be complaining about it anymore. The one thing that I do think they need to fix is ammo. As of right now, you have to pick up every piece of ammo that you see. Whereas in Fortnite, if you run over ammo and you are holding that type of weapon, you immediately pick it up. I think if Blackout adopts this system, it would fix part of the problem people are having with the longer looting system. But while we're talking about looting system, the other type of looting is looting dead bodies. So when you kill an enemy, they drop basically a backpack, and in that backpack is their loot. The problem with this is there's not really a good system for picking up the loot out of the backpack. Basically, you're able to open the backpack, look at one item at a time, and have to scroll through the backpack until you find something that you like. Once again, it just takes a lot longer than if everything were to drop onto the ground, and then you could just pick up what you want. Whether they're going to change that or not, I don't know, but I personally think it'd be a lot quicker if when you killed someone, all their loot just dropped onto the ground instead of having to root through an enemy's backpack. Yeah, it may be more realistic, but at the same time, it just takes a lot longer and does slow down the game. Now, the absolute best part of Blackout, in my opinion, is the gunfights. If you ask me, Call of Duty has some of the smoothest gunfights in any shooter game, so to have that in a battle royale game feels really good. It feels better than Fortnite, better than PUBG. It's pretty much the best you can get as far as gunfights go when it comes to a battle royale. Now, the thing you have to know is that there is bullet drop in this game. It's just very minimal, so you do have to lead your sniper shots. Even if you're a long distance away with a rifle, once again, you have to lead your shots, and it takes a while to get used to that, but once you are used to it, it's pretty simple. And I would have to say the lead time is a little bit less than a game like Fortnite or PUBG, so it's a little bit easier. It's kind of like a mix between a bullet drop weapon and a hit scan weapon, so it's kind of a little cool crossover that Treyarch actually developed there. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the actual speed of the game, how the map flows, and how everything works. So first of all, the map. The map is incredible. To have all of these old Call of Duty maps put into one gigantic map, see them flow together, it's a very, very cool experience, and I think they did an amazing job with that. But the storm, I don't like what they did with the storm. So basically what happens is you drop in, you land somewhere, and then the storm whittles it down to a pretty small circle. I would have to say the first section you have to go to is maybe a quarter of the size of a map. It's pretty small. So sometimes you have to travel quite some distance. The gameplay you're watching here, this game that I won, I started at the dam and I had to make my way all the way to Rivertown, which is in the middle of the map. So I literally had to go through half the map. But it's not a big deal because of two things. First of all, you have a pretty good sprint speed. Second of all, there's lots of vehicles. And because that there's lots of vehicles, it makes it pretty easy to get to where you need to go. Also, on top of that, the storm doesn't do very much damage. Every second, it deals 1 damage to you, at least for the first storm. And you have a ton of healing. So there's 3 different types of healing. There's small healing, which heals 25. There's medium healing, which heals 50. And then large healing that brings your health all the way up to 200. If you have a bunch of healing, you will always get to the next zone. It's not a big deal at all to sit in the storm for sometimes upwards of 5 minutes. One game I was playing, I forgot that I wasn't in the zone, and I had to make my way halfway across the map the entire time being in the storm, and because I had so much healing, I had no problem at all getting to that next zone. So I don't think it's a problem with there being lots of healing. I think it's very clear that that's what Treyarch wants. They want you to be at full health most of the time. I think the problem is the storm just doesn't deal enough damage. The other problem I have with the storm is endgame. So when you get to like the last 10 people and there's a pretty big zone, the endgame takes forever. It is so slow. And the main reason for that is because I'm used to Fortnite, where you can build, you can push enemies, and even if you're in like a wide open area, you can still be aggressive because you can actually build. Whereas in Blackout, it's all based off of positioning. You want high ground, you want to be by a building, you want cover. So once you're in cover, you just kind of have to sit and wait. And because the storm moves relatively slow at the end of the game, this endgame phase can take a very long time. Personally, I would think it's be a lot better if you simply sped up the endgame by making the amount of time between storms shorter and by making the storm move a little bit faster. Reason being, the storm doesn't move that far at the end of the game, therefore you can make this endgame go a little bit faster. But who knows, that may just be me. I just thought the endgame was a little too slow. You can let me know what you think down in the comments. The other thing I hear a lot of people complaining about is the graphics. Yes, the graphics are not as good as the multiplayer graphics. It doesn't look as amazing, but that was kind of to be expected because you gotta remember this map is massive compared to the other multiplayer maps, and to have a little less textures and have it look a little less beautiful for the game to run more smoothly, I think is absolutely worth it. Now, it's also not as cartoony as something like Fortnite, so there's also that, but at the same time, yes, I get it, the graphics aren't perfect, but in my opinion, they're just good enough. Now, the final and probably biggest complaint I have about Blackout is the armor. Yes, the armor. Just like in the multiplayer beta, I'm once again having a problem with the armor. That being said, I know armor needs to be in Blackout. It's got to be there. I just don't like how it works. So, for those of you who don't know, there's 3 different levels of armor. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Level 1 gives you a little bit of extra health. Level 3 gives you a ton of extra health. But it doesn't exactly work like that. Basically, it blocks a percentage of incoming damage, and in Blackout I don't think that works, because in Blackout we don't get to see the enemy's health bars. Personally, if you could see the enemy's health bars, I don't think the armor would be a problem. But because the armor only blocks a percentage of the damage, it feels like it's there forever, and then I have no idea how much health your enemy actually has once the armor is destroyed. I think there's 2 options to make the armor a little bit more balanced, a little bit more even. First of all, option number 1, show us the health bars. Make every player in Blackout have a health bar. That way when you're shooting at them, you know how much armor they have, you know how much health they have, just like you would in multiplayer. Because remember, in Black Ops 4 multiplayer, all players have health bars. So that's one option. Now, the second option, and in my opinion this is the better option, is first of all, everyone needs to be explained exactly how body armor works. Because as of right now, it's very unclear. It basically blocks a percentage of damage based off of what level of armor you are using, and it appears that that only affects you sometimes, and other times it doesn't work. The way I would prefer it to work is like shields in Fortnite, where it basically gives you an extra 100 health depending on what level of body armor you have, and then once it's damaged, it's gone for good. Because sometimes it appears like I get damaged and my body armor stays with me, but I don't know how much body armor I have left. I don't know if it's damaged. I don't know if it's exactly the same as it was as if I first picked it up. It's super unclear how it works as of right now, and I think they just need to adjust it, maybe give the armor a health bar, tell you how much health the body armor actually gives you. It's just super unclear and super inconsistent, and I think that needs to be fixed. Make it more clear, make it more obvious how much damage it's going to protect you from. And I would even go as far as to say make it protect you from less damage, because when you run into someone with level 3 armor, you got to pump a ton of bullets into them. So to answer the question that everyone's going to ask, how good is the Blackout beta? How much fun is Blackout? It's a really, really good game. Treyarch did an amazing job with this Battle Royale, and I'm having a ton of fun with it. I would have to say it's probably 8.5 out of 10. It's going to keep me busy for a long time, well into next year. But I'm also curious what you guys have to say about it. Personally, I think there's just so much to do in it right now. I'm a little overwhelmed. Even like the different zombies areas on the map, there's mystery box. You can get special weapons there, like the ray gun, which I actually happened to pick up earlier today. And there's just so much in it right now, I just want to go keep playing it. So speaking of which, as of right now, when I upload this video, I'm going to be streaming over on Twitch. As I said before, I'm going to be giving away beta codes. We're going to be going for wins. So if you want to check out my stream, there's a link for that down in the description. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see here, you can always hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all my videos. And if you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time. Paradigm.